marching to the grand accompaniment of the brass band from the Border Wing Home Guard.
Srimati Matsiudor War Nongri and the Superintendent of Police East Khasi Hills, Sri Sylvester Nongtanger, along with the Chief Secretary to the Government of Meghalaya, Sri M.S. Rao, and Sri R. Chandranathan, the Director General of Police, Meghalaya.
Our chief guest is being escorted to the flagpole by two NCC cadets, senior under-officers Ivala Rihun L. Nongpur and Yarisha Karbhoy from Shillong College. We are proud to announce that Miss Ivala Rihun
Meghalaya joined the rest of the country in celebrating the 74th Independence Day, where Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma hoisted the tricolour at Polo Ground, Shillong. Unlike other years due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the celebration was limited to only a few activities, which included marching contingents from the Meghalaya Police, Central Reserve Police Force and Meghalaya Police Radio Organisation and the brass band of Border Wing Home Guards.
Kindly be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, today's chief guest, the Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya, Sri Conrad Kongkal Sangma, born on the 27th of January 1978.
this Independence Day address, Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma congratulated health workers and other frontline workers for being able to manage the COVID-19 crisis. He said the state is among the lowest COVID-impacted states in the country in terms of number of cases per million. He informed that the Chief Minister Task Force on the Economy was constituted to recommend reforms to rejuvenate the economy in the short, medium and long term, and based on these recommendations, the government will launch Restart Meghalaya Mission. An amount of 14,515 crore rupees will be spent over the next 3 years for the mission, he added. Later, the Chief Minister honoured 71 health workers who contracted COVID-19 by giving citations in recognition of their service to the state.
Taking the salute now is the contingent of the Central Reserve Police Force led by Inspector Pradeep Yadav. Approaching the saluting dais and taking the salute is the contingent from the Meghalaya Police 1st MLP Battalion led by ABSI Harold Marak. Following the 1st MLP Battalion and approaching the dais to take the salute is last but not the least contingent from the MERO led by ABSI WN Marak.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a loud round of applause for the striking display of parade at this celebration, the result of untiring efforts put in, especially
My dear fellow citizens, on the occasion of the celebration of the 74th Independence Day, I take this privilege to convey my heartfelt greetings to all the people of Meghalaya. Friends, all of us know that this is an unusual year, and we are living through unprecedented times. The COVID-19 global pandemic has disrupted economic and social life like never before. It necessitated drastic measures like a 40-day national lockdown and the most stringent travel restrictions. Societies across the world are adapting to new norms of social distancing, staying indoors, and conducting interactions remotely. In these testing times, we take inspiration from our freedom struggle and recollect with gratitude the contributions of leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Subhash Chandra Bose, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in building our great nation. We are also proud of the contributions of the patriots of our own states. Utral Singh, U Kyang Lamba, Patogan Samba, and their selflessness and steadfast devotion to the cause of freedom. Let us commemorate our freedom fighters and let us rededicate ourselves to the service of our state and our nation. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused loss of lives and well-being and led to wholesale disruption of the economies across the globe. During these difficult times, Meghalaya has been a beacon of hope and made a place for itself in the national and global mind space. We are amongst the lowest COVID-impacted states in the country, in terms of numbers of cases. Currently, with a total of 1,228 cases, we have the lowest number of cases per million population amongst all Indian states and union territories, barring Lakshadweep. This is a matter of great pride, and we all should take a moment to congratulate ourselves on this achievement. This achievement is a result of consistent, systematic, and unwavering efforts of the frontline health workers, the community, and the government. The night of 13th of April 2020, when the first case was detected in the state, remains a testimony to this. Overnight, the entire state machinery was activated. Helplines were set up, online portals were channelized, health workers were mobilized, and as a result, we were able to locate and isolate over 5,000 potential primary contacts. The health department, the district administrations, the police personnel, the sanitation workers, and citizen volunteers worked tirelessly to ensure that the spread of the virus was contained. This was also the time when a large number of people of our state were stranded in different parts of the country and needed support. The government acted swiftly to provide relief to over 10,000 such stranded citizens and transferred an amount of 3,000 rupees each to their bank accounts. Once the lockdown eased, we started the process of bringing all our people back to the state. We were receiving distress calls from Kerala to Kashmir and from Ahmedabad to Aizawl. In less than 3 weeks, we arranged 13 special trains from Chennai, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Goa, Rajasthan, Gurugram, Gujarat, and Kerala to ferry our citizens back home. Over 100 buses and other vehicles were also deployed to bring back the citizens who were stranded in the Northeast. The state not just paid for their travel to their homes, but also took utmost care to ensure their safety and health. Post the opening up of limited air and rail travel, more people started returning to the state. The total number of people who returned to the state stands at over 27,000. We have a very rigorous protocol to ensure that every returnee is registered, tested, and quarantined for the mandatory period of 14 days. We developed technology platforms and deployed IVRS call systems to monitor the returnees right from the time they entered Meghalaya. In addition, follow-up calls and home visits by grassroots workers, including the ASHAs, ANMs, and Anganwadi workers, were made mandatory. In total, over 7 lakh IVRS calls were made, and another 84,453 home visits were done by the frontline workers. The government also ensured that provision kits consisting of necessities like food, sanitary products, and medicines were delivered to every quarantined household. Till date, around 29,000 such provision kits have been distributed. The government has utilized the last 4 months to ramp up its health infrastructure for combating COVID. We are equipped with around 1,500 dedicated COVID beds. We also have 32 dedicated ventilators, 80 BPAP machines, and over 256,000 personal protective equipments. Our testing capacity has dramatically improved. From 30 tests per day in April, we have scaled up our daily testing capacity to almost 1,000 RT-PCR tests. We now have 12 testing centers spread across 9 districts of the state. The remaining 2 districts will also be provided with testing facilities very shortly. Another significant aspect of our COVID management strategy was the setting up of high-quality institutional quarantine centers. I would like to thank the Indian Institute of Management, IIM, for voluntarily offering its new campus at Umsauli to be converted into a Corona Care Center. This is one of the largest Corona Care Centers in the region, with 258 rooms with attached toilets. Across the state, we have 2,700 beds for quarantine. I compliment the fantastic services being provided by the health department staff and the various government and non-government staff working tirelessly to run these centers. The cleaning staff in particular deserves our special gratitude. The services at our quarantine centers have been recognized and appreciated through hundreds of letters, posters, and social media posts. In addition to the government-run quarantine centers, we also have over 1,200 community quarantine centers, which are set up and fully managed by the communities. Government is supporting these active centers through a grant of rupees 10,000 each. The community quarantine centers and COVID management committees in each village and locality is a huge success story of Meghalaya's COVID response. It is also a testimony to the communitarian and caring ethos of the state and has been lauded by the World Health Organization. I would like to thank and acknowledge the leadership of all our community leaders, including the Rambashnongs, the Dorbars, the Nokmas, and the youth. The exemplary fearlessness and sensitivity displayed by leaders like Ba Borlek Suting, the Rambashnong of Mautaria Pomlakrai village, the first rural area to have a COVID positive case, is worth highlighting. Continuing the model of community engagement, the government has recently set up behavioral change management committees. These committees will build citizen capacity to deal fearlessly with COVID and will particularly focus on protecting the elders and persons with comorbidities. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all those who contributed approximately rupees 9.5 crore to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund. Your contributions have helped us acquire 45 ambulances, 3 biomedical waste vans, and take up other relief efforts. Dear citizens, I would like to take a moment now to talk about the economic disruption caused by COVID-19 and the efforts and the plans of the government to deal with this disruption. The government's first priority during the lockdown was to ensure that every household had enough food grains. I am happy to inform you that we were able to achieve this. The lockdown also adversely impacted the livelihood of laborers and the daily wage earners. To alleviate their distress, an amount of rupees 51 crores was spent. Rupees 5,000 each for 25,794 registered workers and rupees 2,100 each for 1,81,491 unregistered workers. Further, an amount of 25 lakhs was released to all the MLAs of the state for supporting the well-being of the people in their constituencies. Further, 3,18,000 women bank account holders were provided an assistance of rupees 1,500 rupees each. 1,38,000 farmers were provided an assistance of rupees 2,000 each, and 53,692 pensioners were also supported under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. Though these measures provided immediate relief, there was a need for deeper thinking and analysis to understand the way out of the economic turmoil caused by COVID. Therefore, a Chief Minister's task force on the economy was constituted to recommend short, medium, and long-term recommendations for reviving the state economy. Based on these recommendations, I am launching the Restart Meghalaya mission. This mission comprises a series of programs to support our farmers, entrepreneurs, and to build growth-promoting basic infrastructure and services. We are calling this mission Restart because we want to revive and give a push to the different development activities that were brought to a standstill by COVID. I am committing an amount of rupees 14,515 crores, which is to be spent over the next 3 years for the Restart Meghalaya mission. And out of this, 7,839 crores has been earmarked for this year. The first set of programs under the Restart Meghalaya mission relate to the primary sector. Farming and farmers lie at the epicenter of our rejuvenation plan. We are all aware that 2020 has been already declared as the year of the farmer. The economic slogan today is localization, not globalization. Given this, we in Meghalaya should also strive to become self-sufficient in the production and marketing of agriculture and allied products. Our interventions will impact all aspects of agriculture, starting with inputs and ending with food processing and value addition. Agriculture credit is key for strengthening production. We target to double the reach of the Kisan Credit Card program from the current number of 86,000 within 1 year. We will also make the KCC loans very attractive by providing an interest subvention of 2% on timely repayment. This measure, for the first time in the history of the state, will enable farmers, Meghalaya farmers, to avail loan with only 2% interest rate. Technology induction is essential for raising productivity. Accordingly, 400 agri-entrepreneurs will be supported in the purchase of power tillers with a 50% subsidy. Rupees 4 crores will be spent on this measure. Collection and aggregation of the produce comes next in line, where we need to build economies of scale. We have already started a program for formation of about 10,000 farmer-producer groups across the state. A corpus fund of rupees 10 crores is being set up to provide lower interest rate loans to producer group members. These producer groups will be slowly aggregated into farmers-producer organizations that will focus on marketing and value addition. We plan to build at least 50 farmer-producer organizations across the state by 2022. These farmer producer organizations will become the focal points for taking up higher value addition activities like food processing. In the immediate term, rupees 15 crores has been sanctioned for the setting up of modern markets in all the districts of the state. An additional rupees 5 crores is approved for setting up of smaller farm gate infrastructures like collection centers. Prefabricated technologies will be used to quickly set up this infrastructure in the current financial year itself. The government recently notified the Meghalaya State Agriculture Produce and Livestock Marketing, Promotion and Facilitation Act 2020. The Act empowers the farmers and will bring about fairness in agriculture marketing and transparency in transactions between farmers and traders. Markets need to be serviced by a robust, efficient supply chain. We already have 1917 I-teams, an Uber-like model for evacuation of agriculture produce. Our I-teams vehicles evacuated around 684 tons of produce during the first phase of the lockdown. We now plan to upscale the 1917 I-teams. Under this plan, 100 agri-entrepreneurs will be supported to produce agri-response vehicles through a 50% subsidy. Rupees 4 crores will be spent on this program. In addition to these new measures, existing missions on Lakadong turmeric, jackfruit and aroma plant cultivation will continue to be supported. Rupees 5 crores each is being spent on the implementation of these missions. A further 2.9 crores has been approved for the construction of shiitake mushroom production and training unit at Upper Shillong. Livestock is a source of alternate and steady revenue generation. In fact, income generation from livestock is higher than that from agriculture in many regions of our state. Accordingly, we are giving a massive push to the livestock sector with particular emphasis on piggery. The piggery mission has been restructured to suit the needs of a post-COVID world. The mission is funded by National Cooperative Development Corporation, loan of rupees 209 crores, of which 55 crore will be spent in this year itself. This mission will be implemented through cooperative societies and is expected to benefit around 25,000 people in the state. We have designed the mission to provide zero interest, long-term loan to pig breeders and fatteners through the Meghalaya Cooperative Apex Bank. Even after repaying the loan, every breeder will earn about rupees 60,000 annually and fatteners will earn about rupees 10,000. The mission will make us self-sufficient in pork production while improving the incomes and nutrition level of our people. The second priority area under the Restart Meghalaya mission is the promotion of well-being and livelihoods in rural areas. MGNREGS remains the pivotal program in this space. While rupees 1,098 crores was spent on the program in last financial year, we have already spent about rupees 700 crores in the last 4 months. This year, the MGNREGS expenditure is expected to touch 1,600 crores. This will translate into an average direct annual income of about rupees 17,000 to the 5,89,000 registered rural households in the state. I compliment the community and rural development team, including all our block development officers and the grassroots staffs, for consistently making Meghalaya one of the best performers in the country under the MGNREGS program. Recently, the State Cabinet made a landmark decision to reserve 50% of the leadership position in the village employment councils for women. This decision should further improve the implementation of MGNREGS and the grassroots decision-making processes. Continuing the theme of women leadership, the other focus program under rural development is the National Rural Livelihood Mission. Under this program, 10,329 women self-help groups were promoted in 2019-20, and 73 crores was spent. This year, we are targeting to reach up to 350,000 women at a cost of rupees 120 crores. Rural housing is another area which we will prioritize this year. We are targeting the construction of about 47,000 houses at an estimated cost of 611 crores under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. The third priority area under the Restart Meghalaya mission is entrepreneurship and small businesses. On account of the disruption in both the supply and demand sides, MSMEs particularly, small businesses and entrepreneurs, have been badly hit by the lockdowns and restrictions. Several of these businesses, like small vendors, shopkeepers, small aggregators, need some cash to restart work. However, many of our small businesses do not have credit linkages with the banking system. To solve this problem, I am starting the Chief Minister's Support Program for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Under this program, the government is launching an online small loans portal, which will enable small businesses to easily apply for loans without having to physically visit the bank branches. More importantly, the government will provide a one-time grant support of up to rupees 10,000 for any new small business loan and up to loans of up to 50,000 that are availed. A corpus fund of rupees 15 crores is created for providing the grant component under this program. Another very important category of entrepreneurs that currently need support are the large number of our skilled and entrepreneurial youths who have returned to the state. Amongst the returnees are highly skilled individuals with strong experience in the industries of IT, financial services, media, and hospitality. A plan for rupees 3.25 crores to support this group through building enterprises in the sectors of manufacturing, business, and services has recently been approved by the Northeast Council. Friends, a fourth priority under the Restart Meghalaya mission is the infrastructure improvement. Quality infrastructure forms the basis for long-term development. Given this, we are giving a push like never before to achieve results in the infrastructure sector. A total investment of 8,753 crores is committed over the next 3 years. In the road sector, 13 major roads covering a length of about 350 kilometers will be constructed at an estimated cost of 850 crores. 9 of these projects have already been tendered, and the construction work will begin from September 2020. These projects comprise the roads at number 1, Bajingdoba, Rishubelpara, Mendipathar, Damra Road. Number 2, Rungram, Rungringri, Darogri Road. Number 3, Agia, Medipara, Pulbari, Thura Road. 4, Shillong, Jangpaso Road. 5, Pasi Garampani Road. Next, Lightcore Pomlakrai Road, Umling Patharkama Road, Rongjeng Mangsang Dokri Road, and a parallel road to existing Dalu Bakmara Road. Apart from that, detailed project reports for another 4 roads are being prepared, namely Maumaram Maulindep Road, Umsning Jagi Road, Nongstoin Mauet Road, and the circular road in New Shillong Township. Another flagship project, the improvement and widening of the 130-kilometer Shillong-Dawki Road, is in the stage of tendering. Additionally, about 2,000 kilometers of rural roads are under construction under the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana at a cost of approximately rupees 1,600 crores. From state's own resources, 400 crores of works covering a length of 517 kilometers has been sanctioned in 2019-20, and implementation of many of these works will begin soon. On water supply, we are leveraging on the Government of India's Jal Jeevan Mission. While the national target for achieving universal household tap connection is the year 2024, Meghalaya is targeting to provide functional household tap connections to all the 5,89,000 rural households in the state by 2022. A sum of rupees 1,483 crores has been earmarked for this year. I am personally monitoring the implementation of this project, and I'm hopeful that we will be able to permanently resolve the rural water supply challenge. On urban water supply, the Tura water supply scheme at an investment of rupees 35 crores is close to completion. And the Sora water supply scheme with an investment of rupees 25 crores is at an advanced stage of completion. The Bakmara water supply scheme with a total cost of 60 crores has recently been sanctioned. Other schemes like the Greater Ampati water supply scheme and Nongstoin water supply scheme are progressing as per schedule. Friends, the power sector will undergo a comprehensive revamp as part of the Restart Meghalaya mission. The state government has decided to avail the 1,345 crore low-cost long-term loan being provided to the distribution companies, the MEPDCL, as part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. This loan will enable our DISCOM to repay all outstanding dues to the various power companies. A roadmap for the loss reduction of DISCOMs through reducing the aggregate transmission and distribution losses over the next 4 years has been put in place. On the generation side, the state government has decided to complete the 22.5 megawatt Ganol hydroelectric power project in the next 2 years. Another critical infrastructure area, particularly relevant in the COVID situation, is information technology infrastructure. Moving everything online has become the order of the day. Applications like telemedicine, remote advisory support for farmers, e-meetings, and trainings which were seen as optional in the past have now become mandatory. Accordingly, plans are afoot to improve the telephone and internet connectivity. 889 4G towers will be installed that will cover 1,164 additional villages and stretches of the national highway. Transport infrastructure in general and air connectivity in particular is an area of importance. Direct flights to New Delhi are expected to be operationalized soon. A new helipad at New Shillong Township will also be constructed. Urban infrastructure development is a core focus of this government. The Shillong Smart City project is being implemented at a cost of 1,040 crores. The government also intends to develop Tura and Jowai as smart towns. Accordingly, the development of public spaces, open air gyms, children's play area, smart street lighting system, solid waste management, solar-based charging points, and other interventions are being planned. The government is earmarking an amount of 50 crores to each of these two towns, that is Tura and Jowai, for smart towns. Friends, despite the COVID-related disruptions, the government is leaving no stone unturned in creating the sports infrastructure to host the 39th National Games. The actual construction of PA Sangma Integrated Sports Complex in Tura will begin from October 2020. The stadium is being constructed with an investment of 125 crores and will be completed by early 2022. The designs for the JLN Integrated Sports Complex in Shillong, which is also being built at a cost of 125 crores, has been finalized. A mega football stadium is also planned to be constructed in Vaijer in West Jaintia Hills with an investment of 25 crores. We are also committed to build rural sports infrastructure all over the state, and another 50 crores will be spent on the same in the next 3 years. Friends, the fifth priority area under the Restart Meghalaya mission focuses on tourism. In our state, close to 50,000 people are dependent on tourism for sustenance and livelihood. I understand the economic hardship faced by the various tourism stakeholders, including hoteliers, homestay owners, restaurant owners, shopkeepers around tourist sites, tourism guides and taxi drivers. Unfortunately, it might take many more months for normal travel and tourism to be restored. However, I am hopeful we will be able to do limited and restricted opening as and when the COVID situation improves in the rest of the country. Hill states like Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand have recently opened up to tourism. We can focus on destinations away from urban areas with plenty of open spaces and with minimal COVID-related risks. Meghalaya is ideally positioned as a pristine, low-COVID destination, and many high-spending tourists from within the country will be very keen to travel here. Our goal, whenever we open, is to transition to a model of high-value, low-volume, sustainable tourism. To become a high-value destination, we need to increase the number of high-value rooms from the current number of 200 to at least 500 in the next 2 years. As private investments might be difficult to come through, the government will make the investment of about rupees 200 crores in creating high-value accommodation and tourism infrastructure. We have already finalized the planning process for iconic projects like the ropeway to Shillong Peak and a luxury boutique resort in Nokrek area in Garo Hills, among others. Friends, in addition to infrastructure creation, we also need to define carrying capacities for all our sites and charge higher entry fees. That way, we can earn the same revenue with lesser tourists. This is ideal both from the COVID and the environmental perspective. I urge our communities to embrace the new normal, be accommodating, and prepare to welcome the tourist whenever tourism reopens. the government will put in thorough COVID prevention protocols to ensure the safety of both locals and the visitors. Dear citizens, the sixth and perhaps the most significant priority area under Restart Meghalaya mission is human development. Education lies at the core of human development. We are taking steps to ensure that children continue to learn despite the shutting down of schools. To facilitate remote learning, we are planning to distribute tablets to 25,000 class 11 students. On the infrastructure front, the process of construction of 13 Eklavya residential model schools will begin soon, and another 25 such schools has recently been sanctioned. I am taking all steps to ensure the completion of all the 40 Eklavya residential model schools by the end of 2022. The construction of these schools will cost about 960 crores. In higher and technical education, we will complete the construction of the 4 polytechnics at Ribhoy, West Khasi Hills, South Garo Hills, and East Garo Hills district. We will also make investments in polytechnics at Shillong, Tura, and Jowai. The degree colleges at Bakmara, Zora, and Williamnagar have been identified for upgradation and improvement, and an investment of rupees 12 crores will be made in each of these colleges. Healthcare is a cornerstone of human development. The government has always prioritized health, and given the current situation, this becomes even more important. Alongside the fight against COVID-19, we have continued our efforts to improve child and maternal health. The Mother program, piloted last year in Southwest Garo Hills, has been expanded to the entire state this year. Ribhoy has been awarded the best performing aspirational district in the entire country in the area of health. East Garo Hills has seen an increase of 60% in their institutional deliveries in comparison to July 2019. Over 25,360 infants have received full immunization during this COVID pandemic in comparison to 21,130 infants during the same period last year. Friends, we are now amongst the top 3 states in the country in immunization. The government is fully committed to improving the institutional delivery rate to 80% by the next year and reducing maternal mortality rate by half. Improving public health infrastructure in every nook and corner of the state has always been the high priority of this government. We have finalized a comprehensive plan for investing 352 crores for the improvement of health systems over the next 4 years. Rupees 75 crore is being invested this year itself for complete revamp of the infrastructures of PHCs and CHCs in our state. Social security is a key aspect of human development. Benefits under the Chief Minister's Social Assistance Program continue to be distributed in a timely manner to the 106,000 beneficiaries. The government is spending 65 crores on this program. Additionally, friends, if you recall, I had made a commitment in this year's budget speech to make regular payments to all casual employees of the government. I am happy that in most departments now, the muster rolls and casual employees are now being paid their emoluments every month rather than every quarter. Friends, This government made a commitment in the recent budget that we will transform Meghalaya into one of the top 10 states in the country. Despite the current COVID crisis, we are very much on track. All the investments I outlined in the Restart Meghalaya mission will propel us towards progress and well-being. Despite the difficult overall economic situation, the government has managed to find the resources to invest in both short and medium-term growth. I would like to thank the Government of India and our Honorable Prime Minister for their continued support to all our programs and projects. My dear citizens, through the last few months, I have been constantly reminded of what my late father used to say about challenges and our responses to them. He would say that the true character of a person is revealed during trying times, and that each of us has a choice to respond to crisis either with fear or with courage. Meghalaya and all of its people have responded to the COVID crisis with courage and dignity. We have demonstrated that a caring government and a sensitive society can together accomplish a great deal. Friends, let me reiterate that despite the current total positive case count of 1,228, our state has the lowest COVID-19 cases per million population. The government has clear protocols for containing the spread of the virus. We also have the health infrastructure in the eventuality of an increase in the cases. We should also remember that 581 people have already recovered from COVID-19 and are living normal lives. They should be looked upon as inspirations who emerged victorious and given all the support and confidence. There can be no room for stigmatization of any individual. The virus demands us to be vigilant, but not fearful. The economic damage caused by the lockdown is immense, and lockdown cannot be our long-term response to coronavirus. There is a need to change our behavior, incorporating the cardinal principles of the new normal: social distancing, mask wearing, hand sanitizer washing, and proper cough etiquette. With the right behavioral changes, we can continue to live our lives, conduct our daily businesses, and protect ourselves and our loved ones. Friends, I would once again like to thank all our frontline workers, the health department, the district administrations, the police personnel, the sanitation workers, the entire state administrative machinery, public representatives, community and local leaders, non-governmental organizations, the media, and citizen volunteers who have been working tirelessly to help us contain the spread of the coronavirus. Once again, I wish all my fellow citizens a very happy Independence Day. Kublai, Matela, and Jai Hind.